Shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. First and foremost, before I get into my lesson, I want to start off by giving all praises unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone that teach and that rule well today. And salutation also to the fellow laborers that's in the ministry and the believers that scatter worldwide in all truth and sincerity, day in and day out. Once again, I'm the brother Shaquat Gabar coming at you with another quick lesson. And right before I get into this lesson, this message or these videos goes out to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, which we are the true biblical Hebrew Israelites according to the Bible. And also to the Israelite foreigners that are scattered amongst the heathen nations and that may take on the physical appearance or look of another nation. But if your bloodline goes back to Negro, Latino, or Native American descent by the seed of your father, you are considered an Israelite as well. Shalom. So basically, as you can see, I had this video queued up on the screen. Okay, once again, from off of one of the beloved brothers channel. Okay, amongst the ministry, and that's in the faith. Okay, as you can see, the channel, the Hopeful Elect 3. Okay, a very good channel, to subscribe for. Okay, so please, subscribe. Okay, because this brother always putting up latest current events. Okay, news. Okay, people, explaining, about the end times or going into dreams. Okay, as in this case, as you can see, okay, on this video, that the title he gave it, and it says Eve shares dreams of no food and no power. Okay, when it comes to when he say mention Eve, okay, that's a term we use amongst the Hebrew Israelites. Okay, when it comes to the so-called Negro woman, okay, or the Israelite woman, okay, when it comes to the Israelite woman amongst Judah, okay, and on down to the rest of the tribes of the women, okay, so that's what he's going into when it says Eve, okay, going to an Israelite woman, okay, and it says share a dream of no food and no power, okay, yeah, because we come into the time when the Lord about to bring end time prophecy or great judgment here upon the earth, in particular this place America, which is known as spiritually Babylon the Great, okay, according to the Bible, okay, spiritual Egypt, okay, spiritual Sodom, okay, because America has taken on these ancient empire customs, okay, but now we're to the point that this place is also known as spiritual Rome, okay, because now we're in the time of the Greco-Roman Empire, because now we're in the time of the ones that are ruling, okay, are the biblical Edomites, chiefly and mainly the elites, okay. If we know that when it comes to these elites' agenda, okay, when it comes to the NWO, okay, when it comes to these central bankers, they want to bring order out of chaos. Okay, now we're in the stages of that. Okay, now we're experiencing inflation. Okay, when it comes to the system, okay, the more and more draconian laws about to be pushed. Okay, the coming of martial law, more detention centers. Okay, concentration camps. The talk of that. Okay, as we're about to on the verge of this place financial crashing. Okay, leading to civil unrest. Okay, and so we're in these times, man. Okay, and that's why the Lord set up the prophets to give that forewarning to you Negro, Latino, Native Americans. Okay, you Israelites. Okay, but we know that ultimately this word is only for the elect. Okay, the hopeful elect, which were considered the 144,000 and the 1/3. Because according to Zechariah chapter 13, verse 8, 2/3 of so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native American descent is going to be cut off in the Lord's judgment, okay, by the Lord's judgment or the Lord's wrath, okay. And so that's what we're about to experience when it comes to this place, America, okay. And ultimately, this place America going to be destroyed by the way of thermonuclear fire at the peak of the Third World War, leading into the time of who the world called Christ, Yahweh Shai, Hamashiach's second coming, by the way of the chariots, what the world called UFOs, okay, the vehicles of the angels, and in the process of the Lord destroying this place by the way of missiles, okay, at the peak of the Third World War, Yahweh Shai is going to deliver the elect by the way of the chariots, okay, but prior to that, we're about to come into the time of Jacob's trouble, okay, Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 7, okay, and so you got a lot of people, okay, starting with our people and these other nations, they're having these prophetic dreams, okay, or end time, okay, that's really about to be the vision that they see is really about to be reality, okay, and when it comes to us that's in the faith, okay, that has been called amongst the ministry, okay, that we believe that we are the prophets, which the word prophet or prophecy means to say before, okay, we're able to, through the Spirit, to interpret these dreams, man, and able to do lessons, okay, going to the scriptures, okay. But let me go ahead and play it because I don't want to make this video too long. So let me go ahead.
I've had this dream 2 times. I had this dream some years ago, and I also had it this year. And I want to warn people to pray because God give us dreams so that we can, number one, be prepared, or number two, pray against it. Okay? So this is the dream I had. In the dream, I was trying to call my mother, but I couldn't because there was no phone service. It was no Wi-Fi. There was no electricity. There was no food. That's the way it was. I couldn't get a hold of nobody. Me and my husband, we was outside and we was talking and we was complaining about the situation that was going on. There was no supplies. It was another dream I had. There was nothing in the stores, not even cleaning supplies. Everything was gone. Food, gone. The stores were empty. No electricity. It was horrible. Please pray. Please pray. This is a warning from God. Thank
<clears throat> Okay, so you can go heard her. Go ahead, share her testimony of a dream she had. And she make mention that in the dream, it wasn't no food in the grocery stores or the marketplaces. Okay, which interpreted or going to a famine. Okay, which the word famine means the hunger. Okay, and she also said there wasn't no power. Okay, so it ain't gonna be no, as normal now, the lights and everything going throughout, the house, the cities, okay, and the Wi-Fi, she made mention of that, okay, the internet, okay, it's gonna be a limit of a certain access, man, okay, where these elites want to push, okay, and that's why, like eventually gonna push, as this place is gonna head for a financial crash, and these elites are ready to replace the physical dollar as they're ready to push the prophecy of the mark of the beast. Okay, Revelation chapter 13, verse 16. Okay, which is known as the RFID microchip. And that's going to be the next way of buying and selling. Okay. And and throughout them implementing that, it's going to be chaotic. Okay, because they want to bring order out of chaos. Okay, so they're going to cause a orchestrated famine. Okay, they're going to cause a EMP attack. Okay, the power grid going out in certain states. Okay, that's why you also hear about a lot of these smart cities being built. Okay, safe zones, as they call them, because those are going to be the cities that are going to be operating. Okay, or function. Okay, when it comes to the new norm of society, and the only way you can operate within those cities if you have that RFID micro. Okay, and when it comes to the biometric, okay, more surveillance, okay. That's why you hear more now, more about Planeteer, a data surveillance, okay, company, or surveillance company, I say, data analyst surveillance company through their technology. As you hear more about AI now taking over, okay. So these elites, okay, are moving towards that, okay, which is all the will of Yahweh Shemyaw Shai. Okay, because the Lord Yahweh Shemyaw Shai set up Esau Edom on the left hand side, okay, to be the sword, okay, and that's the blessing that Esau received, okay, the sword, and the Lord using Esau to bring punishment, okay, on the world, okay, but mainly towards you Negro, Latino, and Native Americans, okay, because salvation is only for the nation of Israel, but only that this time starting with the elect, okay. When it comes to these heathen nations, okay, even these average Edomites, okay, these heathen nations over here in America, okay, these elites, they don't give a damn about them, okay, and therefore they're gonna be victims of the sword. Okay, ain't no salvation for these heathen nations. Okay, if your bloodline doesn't go back to Negro, Latino, or Native American descent, okay, you're not an Israelite, and eventually these heathen nations are gonna be judged when it comes to this place, America, and when Yahweh shall return, okay, after the nuclear destruction, okay, starting with the elites that's gonna escape the missiles, okay, as they're gonna be in their retreats, okay, they bunkers, and everything, their hiding spots that the Lord gonna have them reserved for captivity, okay, and the rest of the heathen nations that don't get destroyed, okay, that remain at the time, okay, because they're gonna go into captivity up under the nation of Israel. That's the future of these heathen nations, okay. They're gonna build our kingdom up, okay, after this place America destroyed, and our kingdom is gonna be here on the earth in the land of Israel, okay, and which, by the way, the land of Israel, okay, is going to be not well, they're going to be cleansed by the way of missiles as well, by fire, okay, because the people that's over there are not the original inheritors, okay, they're Edomites, okay, chiefly Amalek, okay, when it comes to the small hats, okay, that's ruling, and that land gonna be cleansed just for us to rightfully own our land again once Yahweh Shai descend, the elect, okay, on the earth, and the kingdom of Yahweh Shai being established here on the earth, man. Okay, and these heathen nations going to build it up. Okay, so that's their future. Okay, but going back into the top of their hand is the prior to that, we're going to come into the time approaching Jacob's trouble and all hell breaking loose here in the States. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the scriptures. And like I said, you got people, okay, starting with, brothers, okay, amongst the ministry, okay, having dreams, prophetic dreams, and average individuals outside of the truth having prophetic dreams. Okay, but it's all going to be it's all interpreted by the way of the scriptures through the prophets, man. Okay, to prove more and more that we're in the times of Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Shai's second coming. Okay, and this is Joel chapter 2, verse verse 28. And it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your old men shall dream dreams, and your young men shall see visions, and as upon the servants and upon the handmaids in those days will I pour out my spirit. And that's the example we just saw. Okay. And many other individuals that having these, dreams and, recording their testimony, okay, what they see in their dreams, okay, when it comes to end time prophecies. So that's, all the spirit of Yahweh Shemyaw Shai. Okay. And eventually these things are going to come to pass. She made mention that in her dream, how the stores was empty, the lack of food or no food at all, okay, no power, okay, which is going to lead to what? More of a chaotic state, okay, civil unrest, okay, anarchy, okay. Let's get this, but that's Second Esdras chapter 6, verse 22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. Yeah, you're going into these the day, okay, when it comes to your average grocery stores or marketplaces, okay, the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. Okay, and she said that in her dream. Okay, so this is scripture. Okay, this, the lack of bread. Okay, a lack of resources. Okay, when it comes to these stores. Okay, or restaurants. Okay, retail stores. Okay, you know, yeah, especially now inflation hit, more and more hyperinflation, and a point of no return when the dollar crash, man. When this collapse, this place economy crash, man. Okay, that's gonna lead to more of a chaotic state. And like I said, then it's gonna come a point these elites, okay, bringing forth the MOTB, the RFID micro, that's gonna appear to be the solution. But the thing, those of you Negro Latino Native Americans, why we get that stern warning? Okay, when it start with the men of Great Millstone and the brother on down, that truly teaching about the MOTB for what it is, the RFID micro. Okay, the reason why we get that stern warning, because those that take it according to Revelation chapter 14, verse 9, that they're going to be destroyed by the way of the thermonuclear missiles, man. And the Yahweh Shah bringing fire by the way of the chariots. Okay, so that's the penalty of taking it. Okay, that's why we give that stern warning. Okay, but Esau, that's going to be the next way of Esau Edom financial system digitally. Okay, that's going to be the next way of buying and selling. Okay, you just had Trump push the Genesis Act. Okay, turning everything into from physical dollar transferring into cryptocurrency. Okay, back up by the CBDCs. Okay, central bank digital currencies, which all that's going to tie to eventually. Okay, that physical device, that RFID micro being implemented. Okay, and it says in the verse 23, and the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man hear, they shall be suddenly afraid. Okay, that's starting with the prophets. Okay, because the prophets out there blowing the trumpet, the alarm or warning. Okay, what's to come when it comes to this place of prophecy, this place being destroyed, man. Okay, and the chaotic state is about to spur into. Okay, yeah, but a lot of people, they don't want to take heed. They scoff, they scorn, they make mockery of the Hebrew Israelites. Okay, the camps. Okay, come against the word of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. They want to furthermore trust in these false gods. Okay, these idols, these different sets of religions. Okay, trusting the system, trusting the financial system, the aid. Okay, so a lot of people going to take that RFID micro to be destroyed, and the ones that don't even make it to that, okay, that's the other 2/3 gonna get caught up into these plagues. Okay, such as famine. Okay, civil wars, race wars, the Third World War. Okay, natural disasters. You're seeing all these floodings going on. Okay, here in the States, all these storms, man. Okay, excuse me. And it says, and they shall be suddenly afraid. At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies. Okay, so that's how bad it's gonna be. Okay, loved ones or friends turn on each other. And you seeing that now. Okay, here in America. Okay, Yahweh Shah said the love of many shall wax cold. Okay, so you seeing it now. So how much more? Okay, when everything is lawless. Okay, and everything's under the rule of martial law. Okay, civil unrest, race wars, clash wars, the lack of food. Okay, matter of fact, let me finish this, and I'm gonna get second Edges chapter 15. It says, and at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. Okay, the lack of food, the lack of water. Okay, and so these people gonna be out here, facing reality. Okay, uh, these prophecies about to come to pass, man. Okay, the judgment of the Lord, the wrath of the Lord. Okay, being receiving these this place America being plagued, man. Okay, and it says, "But whosoever remain from all these things that I have told thee shall escape and see my salvation and the end of your world." Yeah, the end of Esau Edom world. Because we come to the time of Yahweh Shai, okay, bringing salvation to the elect of the nation of Israel. Okay, and the elect is going to be here during the time of Jacob's trouble. Okay, that's why Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 7 said that he's going to be saved out of it when it comes to the elect. Okay, and you know, on the 144,000, okay, and the 1/3 men, women, and children. Okay, that's going to be, you know, those that endure to the end, up to the point when Yahweh Shai bring the deliverance. Okay, but throughout that, the time of that process, of all hell breaking loose. Okay, the Lord is going to be with his elect. The Lord said his elect going to eat, drink. Okay, rejoice, be comfort. Okay, you know, those that are the elect that remain at that time. Okay, because you're going to have certain elect members. Okay, start with the men. Okay, that's going to be martyrs. That's going to, you know, die for the faith. Okay, being beheaded. Because, you know, when it, amongst these times, or in the time of Jacob's trouble, when the persecution come, those that don't take that RFID micro, okay, amongst Israel, okay, going to be beheaded. That's why now you hear more about the coming of guillotines, smart guillotines, in these concentration camps, torture methods, okay. And according to John the Revelator, Revelation chapter 20, verse 4, he saw, you know, certain men that was beheaded for not taking that RFID micro, okay. And you know, so, and those going to be the ones that's going to be first risen up when Yahweh Shai return, okay, from out of the graves, okay, or from the spiritual realm, okay, you know, to receive their reward, okay, of being the elect, okay, receiving salvation, okay, and you got certain members of the elect, okay, that died in the faith doing the ministry, okay, okay, at this time, and they're gonna be also the first ones risen up, okay, when Yahweh shall return to gather the rest of the elect, okay, those that, you know, that's not going to see death, okay, but going to be delivered. So that's it on that. Let me get second Esdras chapter 15, verse 14. And it says, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein." Okay, that word woe means destruction. "For the sword and the destruction draweth nigh." Okay, and that's the modern day sword are these weapons. Okay, start with the modern day sword, the guns. Okay, and that's what it's going to be here in America. Okay, when it comes to civil unrest. Okay, these citizens that got weapons. Okay, going against each other or going against the government, martial law. Okay, martial law troops. Okay, "For the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men." Okay, the word sedition means uproars or uprising. Okay, civil unrest. "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor their princes." Your modern day kings and princes are your government officials. Okay, and it says, "The courses of their actions shall stand in their power." So people going to take matters in their own hand. Okay, and it's going to be lawless, man. Okay, as I said, they evading one another. Okay, "A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able." And that's where you're going to have martial law. Okay, checkpoints, travel bans. Okay, chaos. Okay, she say the power going out. Okay, the lack of food, the lack of gas. So ain't gonna be no, as see now, these people get in their cars and, you know, drive here and there as normal as now. Okay, all that's gonna come to a halt. Okay, so ain't gonna be as travel as usual. And it says, "A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid." Okay, "And a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread. Okay, the lack of bread, famine. Okay, and for great tribulations. Okay, so that's the time we're about to enter into. Okay, especially when it comes to the lack of food. Okay, hey, people gonna, what do you think people do when they come to the point of starvation? Okay, hey, especially these Americans known for being comfortable and gluttonous and eating. When it comes to these restaurants, okay, when it comes to the stores, okay, so when there's a lack of food, okay, or the lack of resources, okay, that people don't ain't gonna be able to have, okay, especially when everything is rational, okay, through the government, especially back up by that RFID micro, the system they want to put in, okay, people gonna take matters in their own hand as the scripture and going into, okay, so that's it on that. But like I said, the Lord said His servant is going to eat, okay. But let me get this, and I'll get ready to close. And it says, woe is me, who will deliver me? Second Ezra chapter 16, verse 17. Woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? Once again, the word woe means destruction, okay? And this is a vision that Ezra saw here in these times, okay, according to these times, okay? The beginning of sorrows and great mourning, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, in us are the hopeful elect. And we're going to have faith in Yahweh Shema Shai. Okay, our hope is in Yahweh Shema Shai to deliver us in the times ahead. Okay, just as every day. Okay, but how much more when all hell breaks loose? That's why we're preparing ourselves now. Okay, Isaiah chapter 33, verse 6. Okay, says that for wisdom and knowledge should be the stability of thy time. Okay, and so that's why we're giving diligence to make our calling and election sure. Okay, and praying that we are doing it to the end. Okay, that we are called, but hopefully we are chosen. Okay, and the Lord have mercy upon us in the times ahead. Okay, and it says, behold, famine, plague, tribulation, and anguish are sent as scourges for the amendment. But for all these things, they shall add scourges. These the Lord bringing plagues. A scourge is known as a whip. Okay, and look how the Lord is plaguing America, but majority of our people, they still not taking heed. Okay, when it comes to the 2/3, but the elect is going to see it and be covered. Okay, and going to take heed. Okay, according to Romans 11:7, for the election have attained it, and the rest was blinded. So the elect is going to attain the truth, understanding the truth. Okay, and eventually be covered. Okay, contain salvation. Okay, the 2/3 of our people, they're going to be judged, and they will have to come back in the kingdom. Okay, and it says, behold, virtue shall be so good cheap upon earth, yet goods. Okay, everything reasonable now when it comes to certain prices, but wait till inflation kick in more, leading to hyperinflation, and wait till all hell break loose. Okay, so these people still comfortable here in the States. Okay, they that shall think themselves to be in a good case, even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape hunger shall the sword destroy. Okay, and the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down. So that's getting the time of when the Lord bringing the time of Jacob's trouble. Okay, and in that time, the Lord ain't going to have His prophets out there on the highways and byways, or this word being on the internet, which is going to lead to the famine of the word. Amos 8 and 11. Okay, when they regulate the internet. Okay, the time of them, bringing censorship of this word. And the Lord, during the time of martial law and all hell breaking loose, the Lord removing His prophets. Okay, so this is the time now. Okay, Isaiah chapter 55, verse 6. Seek ye the Lord while He may be found. Okay, by the way of the prophets, man. Okay, but when all hell break loose, the Lord's going to be, okay, with His elect. Okay, I get this and I'll get ready to close. Second Ezra chapter 16, verse 70. For there shall be in every place in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. Yeah, we're going into an all hell breaking loose, man. Okay, the time of Jacob's trouble. Okay, there should be like madmen sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. It start with these average people invading each other. Okay, and these martial law troops taking people out of their homes and harting them off to concentration camps. Okay, if not even if they make it to the concentration camp. Okay, because they're gonna be using lethal force at that time as well. Okay, the martial law troops, they AI robots, uh, uh, AI dog robots, robot dogs, super soldiers. Yeah, you saw have this type of advanced weapons, man, ability. Okay, and it's gonna be shown on display. Okay, once again, the Lord gave him the power on the left hand side. Okay, and it says, but eventually Yahweh Shai is coming back to take Esau Edom power from him. Okay, because Yahweh Shai control all things, man. The Heavenly Father gave Yahweh Shai. Okay, Yahweh gave Yahweh Shai the power to rule over all things. Okay, and it says, for they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as the gold in the fire. Okay, that's going into the elect. Okay, mainly the elect. Okay, then they're gonna know that who the Lord chosen is. Start with the men, because the Lord gonna be with his men. Okay, and that's when you're gonna have a certain men getting spiritual power. Okay, angels guiding. Okay, the Lord providing. Okay, and that's when you're gonna have the 1/3 of the elect. Okay, when the women, okay, the women being being guarded, or a man being a hiding place. Okay, for the women and the children. Okay, those are the elect. And it says, "Hear ye, hear ye, my beloved, say the Lord. Behold, the days of trouble are at hand, Jacob's trouble. But I will deliver you from the same," and that's the elect. Okay, being delivered. "Be ye not afraid, neither doubt, for Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, is your guide, and the guide of them who keep my commandments and precepts, say the Lord God. Let not your sins weigh you down, and let not your iniquities lift up themselves." And that's our hope, that's our prayer. Okay, that Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, okay, be with us day in and day out, especially if we are doing to the end. Okay, through the times of Jacob's trouble. Okay, and receiving the covering, okay, and the favor of the Lord, okay, to be delivered, man. Okay, and the Lord, being our guide, man. Okay, and so I'm gonna go ahead and end the lesson here, and I pray that the lesson will edify till next time, Lord willing. Shalom to the elect. Shalom.